I have experience. Wow, that's weird. Wait, that sounds weird. I mean, not anything weird. Like, you know, I don't have like a wife and kids or anything like that. That's weird. I've experienced life, you know, like I've experienced life. And one takeaway is what I found experiencing life, you know, let me be, you know, Seible for a moment. Let me be Seible or for a second, you know. I think though that there is no other better place than being here. There is no other better place for me than being in Nijisanji. I love Nijisanji. I'm gonna be so real too, though. I'm gonna be so real. I didn't have much time to get to appreciate Nijisanji as much as I wanted to. Because if I sat back and relaxed and appreciated everything and followed everything and watched everything, I wouldn't be here today. And so that's why in some ways I'm very like I'm like a little baby, you know. I'm like a little baby because like some of the jokes kind of fly over my head. Because, and unfortunately for me specifically, if they didn't fly over my head, I would not be here. And so it's a hard, you know, we each have our different courses, we each have our different path, you know, to being here. But when I first saw a walking, talking, okay, it wasn't walking, but it was talking. When I first saw a talking anime figure, talking anime in real time, right? When I first saw that, I'm sorry, like I don't want to say it that way, but like when I first saw like a talking anime character, my life changed. Like for the first time in my entire life, I said, wow, I want to do that. That is what I really, really want to do. Because I know we talked about like, oh, did you ever have something that you wanted to do growing up? And like, for example, like pilot, you know, like I kind of wanted to be a pilot, but that was in kindergarten. You know what I mean? That was in kindergarten. I didn't have, like, I saw my peers who were super focused. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be, you know, a doctor. I want to be a whatever, right? They were super focused. They knew what they wanted in their life. That is the thing that they wanted to do. And to me, it's like, well, I never had that. And then for the first time in my life, I saw that and I said, this is what I'm going to do. There is nothing that is ever going to change that. That is what I'm going to do. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm living my life. This is my life. I will never give this away and take this for granted. Because in my entire life, this was the first thing that I've ever truly wanted. You know what I mean? And so when you're worried that like, hey, you know, I hope that the springs come year after year, still be walking this path. When you're scared about that, don't be. This is who I am. This is me, you know. This is my dream. This is who I am. Like, I'm not gonna change anything. I'm not gonna do, you know, anything. I want you to know that. So please don't worry.